I got news that earlier this week there was a certain protest in Washington, D.C., which saw two people throwing red powder over the glass cases that house the U.S. Constitution. This was part of a climate activist protest that was done over Valentine's Day week in Washington, D.C. And the two individuals that were involved with this desecration of the US Constitution the day prior had been arrested for blocking traffic on the parkway around Washington, D.C. And at least one of these gentlemen was found last November spray painting signage that was next to the 54th Massachusetts monument, or at least a bronze version of it that's housed in an art museum. And, well, it's bad enough that well, actually, it's far worse. The worst thing you could do in the United States of America is throw red powder on this document that gives us our liberties. But if you're on Readout Productions, you decide to throw paint even near a Civil War monument, you know what that means. So I debate about showing the actual footage. I'm not giving the time of day, guys. Screw them. They don't deserve it. I'll tell you what they did, but I'm not gonna show you their faces and make them famous. But you see this time and time again, any activists for that matter, but it's particularly the climate activists. You know, a lot of these climate activists are in their youth. They're my age. They could spend their time, effort, and resources finding solutions to this climate problem they're talking about. They can find ways to reduce waste of products. They can use their time and energy. They can go study do we find ways to reduce our waste? How do we make a cleaner environment? They could spend all their time doing that. Nobody would have a complaint. They'd be hailed as potentially heroes. But no, how do they spend their time? They go to every single public space and impede daily life. Now, the argument is made that by doing this is a peaceful protest. And we're allowed to do this, and that this is going to draw attention. You're going to draw yourself attention. It ain't going to be the attention you want. Instead of getting people to be sympathetic to you, now you have people wanting to punch your face in because you're blocking their way to go to work. You're impeding other people's means of achieving a decent living. People aren't going to be too kind to that. So, are you getting their attention? Yeah. Is it for the good? No. And when you go about and are trying to desecrate historical documents, the very fabric, you are literally you're trying to literally desecrate the very document that gives you the right to protest. This is counterproductive. Not a good image. Not good at all. Can't you use your energy to find some solution to the world's problems? Why do you got to make more? I think, is that all I have to say about that? I think that's all I have to say about that. I don't know. Just want to get that off my chest. It's so counterintuitive. It's our right for it's our right to free speech to impede everybody's daily life and try to tarnish the thing that gives us the right to speak our mind. I know it's really cliche, but I'm going to quote a fictional character. With great power also comes great responsibility. We have a lack of responsibility and I'd say all generations of America have at one point they lack responsibility. But as we get with each newer generation, have you noticed people are becoming increasingly irresponsible? To be able to wield the power of the US Constitution, you must respect it and you must be responsible that you know when and when not to use these powers. That, in my opinion, tarnishing that very document that gives you the power to speak, that's an abuse of power. And also, there's entities that are apparently funding these climate activists because they go all over the place. They go all across the country, the whole world, and they show up at one point in the Louvre to tarnish art. They show up the next moment in D.C. to destroy the Constitution. They show up everywhere. They show up on every single street. They show up at Burning Man. They did show up everywhere. There's these very influential people backing them, causing this disruption. Where's the solution? Why can't you take your money and invest it into people trying to solve the problems? Why are you taking your money and investing it into people just causing more problems and disrupting things and not creating solutions? I don't have the oh, I think I have the answers to it, but I don't think the hate book and the tube you would allow me to say it. But just gonna leave that out there. Why are people with a lot of money investing and sending these people around causing destruction instead of investing that money into the problem solvers?